for the purpose of time, we're just going to invite the choir up, please. And then we're going to go advance straight into the class. Khan? Okay, praise the Most High. Choir? Hey, y'all know my favorite. Just in case you didn't have anything prepared.
Praises to a higher, oh praises to a higher, creator of all, he is almighty, far above, oh Lord, Yeshua our Savior, he's our Savior, Yeshua our Savior, Christ our Savior. He is Lord, He is Lord, He is Lord, He is Lord. Oh, this is the day, this is the day that the Lord has made, that the Lord has made. We will rejoice, and be glad in it, and be glad in it. Oh, this is the day that the Lord has made. We will rejoice and be glad in him, for this is the day, this is the day that the Lord has made. We are the people, that the Lord has claimed, that the Lord has claimed. We will rejoice, and be glad in him, and be glad in him. Oh, we are the people that the Lord has claimed, the children of Israel coming back to him. Oh, we are the people, that the Lord has claimed. We are the people that the Lord has claimed, the children of Israel coming back to him. Oh, we are the people, that the Lord has claimed.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Right, this is just going to be near enough a short and sweet class, and we want to make sure the sun don't go down too quickly on us, all right? But it's important that we go into a bit of the history of not tabernacles per se, but us in the wilderness, where we was dwelling in the tabernacles and in the booth. Yeah, so that's what the class is going to be on. It's going into Numbers, the 14th chapter, and breaking it on down, and part of the 16th chapter also. Yeah. So if we get Numbers 14 for me.
We're in the book of Numbers, chapter 14, and verse 1. And all the congregation lifted up their voice and cried, and the people wept that night.
All right, so just to give you what's happened is that now we've sent 12 spies to go and spy out the land of Canaan. And obviously they're reporting that they're seeing giants in the land and so forth and so forth. So when the spies came back, they're scaring the people. And in my Bible, the heading says Israel refuses to enter Canaan. Not that they couldn't enter it, because the Most High was with us, but our people rebelled and didn't want to go through it, showing lack of faith. You understand? So they've got a report of the land. Mind you, they've already been taking down nations already. They already saw what the Most High did for them, coming out of Egypt, parting the Red Sea when there was no hope. So now they have to go into the land. The Most High said, Moses says, send out 12 spies to go spy out the land and see what type of people are there. And they're coming back all scared, saying, listen, we should just stayed in Egypt, the giants and so forth, just scaring the people. So now the people are at night now, when they come back, they start to cry and they're weeping, saying, yo, listen, we're going to die. Yeah?
And all the children of Israel murmured against Moses.
And all the children of Israel now decide to turn and murmur against Moses. Now this word murmur, actually, I wanted to look it up, because I know I got a book called The Dictionary of Angels, and it shows you that murmur is one of the demons. It's a spirit, it's a demonic spirit, and it's called murmur. Yeah? So we're just going to look at what the word murmur means in a dictionary, yeah?
Murmur, a mumbled or private expression of discontent.
It says a mumble or private what?
Private expression of discontent.
Private expression of discontent. So people are walking around discontent, like this, just talking bad against Moses, and they was murmuring all around. When they could have easily said, Moses, can you explain what's going on here? Like, we're kind of scared. But they decided to murmur against Moses. So looking on Moses as he's walking past and start talking bad behind his back and so forth. Yeah? Carry on.
To complain in a low tone.
To complain in a low tone. So instead of, if you have questions, ask questions. But don't be complaining behind closed doors. It's a demonic spirit. You understand? Now that is not love. So no complaining, no murmuring. You speak openly to your brother and sister. That's why Christ said, if you have a problem or someone trespasses against you, go tell them the fault, you and him alone. You understand? Why? Because it stops the murmuring. It stops the discontent. It stops division amongst the church and so forth. Let's get Jude chapter 1. And I think it's it's only one chapter in Jude. I think it's verse 6 we can start off at. Yeah? You got it. Yeah, that one down.
Everybody there? The book of Jude, chapter 1, verse 6. And the angels, which kept not their first estate, but left their own habitation, he hath reserved in everlasting chains, under darkness, unto the judgment of the great day.
Carry on.
Even as Sodom and Gomorrah, and the cities above them in like manner, giving themselves over to fornication, and going after strange flesh, are set forth for an example.
So what we're reading here from verse 6 on down is what the angels influence people to do. Yeah? Go after strange flesh and so forth, commit fornications. Yeah? Give the example of Sodom and Gomorrah and the cities round about, them being riddled with demonic spirits. Yeah? Carry on, my brother.
Suffering the vengeance of eternal fire. Verse 8. Likewise also these filthy dreamers defile the flesh, despise dominion, and speak evil of dignities.
And speak evil of dignities. This is what the demonic spirits were dealing with. The spirit of murmur makes people speak evil of people, ready to lead them into the kingdom. Moses was leading our people into the promised land, a land that flowed with milk and honey. That was going to be a blessed time in their life. But they started to speak evil. That's how you know Satan and his minions got in. That spirit of murmur. Skip down to 14 for me, please.
Verse 14. And Enoch also, the seventh from Adam, prophesied of these, saying, Behold, the Lord cometh with 10,000s of his saints to execute judgment.
So now we're getting to the prophecy. When Christ returns, he's coming back with 10,000 of his saints to execute judgment. And we're going to read on who those people are, or what sort of people they're going to be executing judgment on.
Verse 15, to execute judgment upon all, and to convince all that are ungodly among them of all their ungodly deeds which they have ungodly committed, and of all their hard speeches which ungodly sinners have spoken against him. These are murmurers. These are murmurers.
That spirit of murmuring, yeah? This is who Christ is going to execute judgment on. And this is why when we go through Numbers, the 14th chapter and the 16th chapter, we're going to realize what happened to the people that were murmuring. Read.
Complainers.
Murmuring and complaining one and the same. We're not having it. If you see a fault or somewhere lacking within the body, just help it out. Let's not complain and let's not murmur about it, because we're going to read the judgment of those that murmur and complain without putting their hand to the plow and trying to build the church and the nation. Yeah?
Walking after their own lusts, and their mouths speak of great swelling words, having men's persons in admiration because of advantage.
Okay, so we can finish off that there. Let's go back to Numbers for me. So we just tried to get that murmuring in the spirit that came down from the fallen. Because no man's perfect, so we need to identify, yo, listen, nothing's ever going to be perfect right now. So it should be easy to get over offenses and so forth and so forth. But when people are just murmuring and complaining, it shows that they actually must think that they're perfect now, and forgetting what we actually went through in the wilderness. So Tabernacles is meant to also be a reminder of what we went through in the wilderness. And we have to stay away from what we was doing in the days of old. Before we get Numbers 14 again, Deuteronomy 32 and 7.
Deuteronomy chapter 32 and verse 7. Remember the days of old.
Remember the days of old. Read.
Consider the years of many generations. Ask thy father, and he will show thee, thy elders, and they will tell thee.
So we have to remember, we have to go into the scriptures to remember the days of old. Remember why tabernacles was implemented from the beginning with Abraham to the children of Israel coming out of Egypt. What we was going through. Why was we in the wilderness for 40 years? What happened? What were they complaining about? Yeah? So that's what we're going through today. We're going to read Numbers the 14th chapter and just break it on down. Yeah? Alright. I do have this in a proper lesson format, but my laptop's dead, so we're just going to run the thing. There it is. Yeah? So Numbers 14, where we left off, please.
Book of Numbers, chapter 14, verse 2. And all the children of Israel murmured against Moses and against Aaron. And the whole congregation said unto them, Would God that we had died in the land of Egypt?
They preferred to have died in the land of Egypt. And when you read in Egypt, it says that they put us under hard bondage, much oppression. But they would have rather died under oppression. They actually have the faith and the walk through to the land. The Most High already showed that it's with us by opening up the sea and all these other miracles and so forth. But they still had unbelief. little faith. Read.
Or with the Most High we had died in the wilderness. And wherefore have the Lord brought us up into this land, to fall by the sword, that our wives and our children should be prey? Were it not better for us to return to Egypt?
Were it not better for us to return back to our slave masters and that hard bondage? That's what they were preferring. When Most High promised that we'll go through to a land that flowed with milk and honey. The Most High promised that, and they would rather go back to slavery. Israel are refusing to take a leap of faith and go into the land. Read.
Verse 4. And they said one to another, let us make a captain, and let us return into Egypt.
So now they're going against Moses. They're thinking Moses isn't good enough for them. Let's choose our own captain and let him lead us back into the Egypt, back into slavery. That's why we don't go with these politicians and so forth and vote. I know you probably get fined for voting in Australia, but we don't get fined. I don't vote. I'm not on the voted roll or nothing. Electoral roll, whatever they want to call it. Who am I voting for? None of these people are for me. I don't like the look of none of them. So I'm not voting. Yeah? I'll wait for Christ to come back and to lead us back into the land of Egypt. You understand? That's what I'm waiting for. King of Kings. That's what I'm waiting for. And our people are so stubborn and hard-headed and rebellious, they'd rather choose someone to lead them directly back into slavery. Yo, you just killed off Pharaoh's firstborn and so forth, and near enough killed off his army. You're going to go back there, you think you're going to get a warm time? People are crazy. You understand? You think we're going to be standing off on the street corners, chanting down this kingdom, for us to leave to come back and say, yo, I'm sorry. They're going to kill us. They're going to put us under much oppression. Our people have no sense sometimes. You understand how you're going to leave somewhere where the Most High did enough wonderful work to free you, and less than a couple years later you want to return back? It is crazy. Read.
Verse 5. Then Moses and Aaron fell on their faces before the assembly of the congregation of the children of Israel. And Joshua the son of Nun, and Caleb the son of Jephunneh, which were of them that searched the land, rent their clothes, and spake unto all the company of the children of Israel, saying, the land which we passed through to search it is an exceeding good land. And if the Lord delight in us, then he will bring us into the land, and give it us, a land which floweth with milk and honey. Only rebel not against the Lord, neither fear ye the people of the land.
So these are knew that there wasn't murmuring against and rebelling against Moses. They're rebelling against the Most High, because the Most High is giving them the land. The Most High is commanding them to go into the land and to execute judgment on his behalf. Don't rebel against the Most High. The Most High commands us to worship on the Sabbath day. Let's make our effort to be there. Whatever the Most High commands, let's do it. Because it's going to be for our benefit. We will get the prize and the crown if we keep the commandments. The Most High's already got his crown. He don't need us to keep his commandments. We need to keep his commandments. We need to do whatever the Most High requires of us. This is what people miss. The Most High saying, yo, go into the land. And they search the land and they say, yo, the land exceedingly good. It's not no rocky road out there. It's an exceedingly good and fertile land. So let's go and take it. Same way with the kingdom. We have to take the kingdom. Let's not be scared. Let's go take it. It's ours. The Most High is with us, like he was with them at this time. Or we want to rebel because we're going to try and think, wow, we don't like the way certain leaders speak to me, so I'm not going to rebel against the church altogether. You're rebelling against the Most High and his ordinances. Let's get Romans 13.
Romans chapter 13, verse 1. Let every soul be subject unto the higher powers.
It says, let every soul be subject unto the higher power. This is the church stance. This is the role and responsibility of this church structure. It's saying, let every soul be subject unto the higher powers. Let every soul be subject unto the officers, captains, deacons, and elders. That's the order. Read.
For there is no power but of the Most High. The powers that be are ordained of the Most High.
The powers that be are ordained of the Most High. The Most High chose Moses to lead the children of Israel out of Egypt. He chose Moses to be the leader over Israel. So who would we thinking that we could rebel against somebody the Most High chose? That was never going to end well. Especially murmuring against him. Not even saying openly, yo Moses, I think this is a bad idea. But murmuring, spreading it around, gossiping, complaining. Spirit of the fallen. Read.
Verse 2. Whosoever therefore resisteth the power, resisteth the ordinance of the Most High. And they that resist shall receive to themselves damnation.
And we know where it led the people that were murmuring against Moses. If we don't know now, we're going to read it and we'll find out later what happened to them. It doesn't end well when you try and go against the Most High's ordinance. That's why we have to keep the commandments that the Most High gave and commanded us. Read.
Verse 3. For rulers are not a terror to good work, but to the evil. Wilt thou then not be afraid of the power? Do that which is good, and thou shalt have praise of the same. For he is the minister of the Most High to thee for good.
Moses and the elders in the church are ministers for good, for your benefit, to give you edification, to make it into the kingdom. Moses was chosen because there was something about him. It says Moses was meek and he cared for his people. So Moses wouldn't have led them into the wilderness to kill them off. He tried to give them life. You understand? People were ungrateful. Not a terror for is not a minister for the. It's a minister for good. We were going to reap the benefit of Moses giving us the land and all that. That was something good for us. But we wanted to go back to Egypt and be under hard bondage, living in amongst cattle and so forth. If you ever knew what the Egyptians actually thought of us, it's ridiculous. And we wanted to go back there. Read.
Verse 4 again. For he is the minister of the Most High to thee for good. But if thou do that which is evil, be afraid. For he beareth not the sword in vain. For he is the minister of the Most High, a revenger to execute wrath upon him that doeth evil.
Yeah, and I know I keep saying it, but we are going to read in Numbers what happened to those that were rebellious and murmuring against Moses. We're going to read it, and it doesn't end well. The Most High sets people there for your good, for your own benefit. But Israel thinks that they can do what they want to do and make it how they want to make it. Want to set up their own kings and so forth. The Most High chooses who he chooses. That's why he sent out Christ, who was lowly, meekly, didn't have a leader stature in him, but his spirit was right. That's who the Most High chose, because he had to bear our sins. Yeah, so let's, where are we now? 14 and 9, yeah?
The book of Numbers chapter 14 and verse 9. Only rebel not ye against the Lord, neither feed ye the people of the land, for they are the bread for us. Their defense is departed from them, and the Lord is with us. Fear them not. But all the congregation bade stone them with stones.
All the people decided, listen, my man's chatting rubbish. Let's stone him with stones. They were going to kill them that day for trying to give them life in a promised land. And that's how it is. We have to equivalent it to now modern times. When we stand up on the streets and we're giving the Israelites the gospel, the kingdom of heaven is for you, the new Jerusalem. And you get people ready to, well, the effing and blinding and so forth, putting up fingers and making hand gestures, getting all riled off. You get me? It would have to be the black lady to say, "Where's the woman?" You understand? Just being a total distraction. And the message could have actually been for her. You know, you're a queen. You're a princess of Israel. That's something good. But they don't want to hear that. They want to hear the slave master is the king and we do whatever the slave master says. They want to conform to this society. It's crazy. Carry on, please.
But all the congregation bade stone them with stones. And the glory of the Lord appeared in the tabernacle of the congregation before all the children of Israel. And the Lord said unto Moses, How long will this people provoke me? And how long will they err? They believe me for all the signs which I have showed among them.
So it's like, yo, how long are these people going to provoke me? I've showed them enough signs and wonders. And they still don't trust me. They still have no faith. It's provoking. The Most High chose our people and He's leading us into a direction. Let's put our faith in Him and just let Him guide us to where He wants us to be. The Most High is actually doing us a favor by giving us the land and whatnot. Not the other way around. He says Esau sold his birthright because he didn't respect it. He didn't respect his birthright, that's why he gave it away. He didn't respect the promises, that means he didn't respect the Most High. Because the Most High is the one that, when it all boils down, the promises came from. Let's not be like that. Let's respect what the Most High is doing with us, with the church, and the direction the church is going in. Because it's going to be for our life and our benefit. But our people here have got no clue and no understanding. No faith. This shows a lack of faith. He can do enough signs and wonders and they still don't believe. What more does it take? We was at the edge of the sea, nowhere to go, and the Most High parted it for us. And we reached the other side and we're still complaining and we're still nervous about going into a land full of people. The Most High is with us and He'll take care of anybody that steps in the way of fulfilling His requirement. Yeah?
Verse 12. I will smite them with pestilence and disinherit them, and I will make of thee a greater nation than a mightier than they.
Now the Most High is saying, yo, listen, because they don't trust me, I'll wipe away with them and I'll keep Moses and Aaron and I'll make a nation of used to more mightier than what you see today. I would have said, yo, you know what, do what you want to do. I'm ready. Understand? Because it would have been a mightier and better nation. This is what the Most High is saying. But hear what Moses is saying. Even though the people were murmuring against Moses, hear his response.
Verse 13. And Moses said unto the Lord, Then the Egyptians shall hear it, for thou broughtest up this people in thy might from among them, and they will tell it unto the inhabitants of the land. For they have heard that the Lord art among this people, and that thou, Lord, art seen face to face, and that thy cloud standeth over them, and that thou goest before them by daytime, and in a pillar of the cloud, and in a pillar of fire by night. Verse 15. Now if thou shalt kill all these people as one man, then the nations which have heard the fame of thee will speak, saying, because the Lord was not able to bring this people into the land which he sware unto them, therefore he hath slain them in the wilderness. Verse 17. Now I beseech thee, let the power of my Lord be great, according as thou hast spoken, saying, The Lord is long-suffering, and great of mercy, forgiving iniquity and transgression, and by no means clearing the guilty, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation. Pardon, I beseech thee, the iniquity of this people, according to the greatness of thy mercy, and as thou hast forgiven this people from Egypt even until now.
So here's Moses intercession for them, because Moses he would have kept alive. And again, this is for their own benefit. Moses had to intercede and say, you know what? Don't do away with them, because it's going to look bad on you in the long run. You understand? But forgive them for their murmurings, their lack of faith. And you know what? Let's work with what we got right now, and let's try and make it happen. But you never guess what our people did again as you carry on reading the chapter. Murmured and complained again, and again, and again. For our benefit, like I don't understand what more would you want? The Most High is fighting with you, He's saving you, He's going to bless you at the end of it, and you're still complaining? You understand? Tabernacle needs to be a reminder, no more complaining. You understand? Be sufficient with what you have outside the tabernacle. Because living here in this rough terrain is not the one, especially for me. I am grateful for a bed and central heating. I'm very grateful. Yeah? And every day we need to be waking up, praying, being thankful for it. Because we could be living out here for a journey that could have took 2 weeks to take 40 years. I can't live 40 years like this. You understand? He's coming into summer. Imagine winter. You're crazy. English winter. You don't want none. You understand? No, don't watch the snow. It looks pretty. But yo, it's cold. And you hold it for too long. You get frostbite, which feels like your skin's burning. It's cold. You don't want that. You want to be nice and cozy in your bed. You understand? That's what you want. And the children of Israel was going to get it. They were near enough there. They sent spies into the land, so the land was real. And the land was very fertile. It wouldn't have took long. I'm looking around at the tents now, and that couldn't have took, look, they're looking all majestic and en suites and all that. You understand? Imagine what they could have done in, like, if you had it a couple months. Yeah, you would have been building mansions. Trust me. You would have started slabbing the ground and doing all types of work. Imagine thousands of us, carpenters by trade and so forth, farmers, so they weren't running out of food. Carpenters, builders, electricians. Yo, it would have been one bag of people ready to make a kingdom with a very fertile land. I was complaining. So the land was real. So it's not like he gave them an imaginary land that wasn't there. They reached it. They sent spies into it, and the land was good, just the inhabitants were off. So yeah, what we do is just do away with the inhabitants, and we got it. While people were scared and wanted to go back into slavery, scared of a reward. I'm still confused. It's baffling. It's baffling. Not saying it's going to be easy to take down giants, but it's easy with the Most High. You understand? David did it. I can do it. Trust me. I'll give it a good go as well.
Just to touch a point here, you know, Moses, as we can see, he didn't do it for the glory of men. Because here we read in verse 12, I will smite the pestilence and disinherit them, and I will make a great nation out of him. So the Most High was giving him permission, hey, you are going to be the one. Fame, everything. You know, Moses became famous anyway. But because of how humble he was, you know, it wasn't about him. It was about, he put himself to the side. And he said, look, even though these people are stiff-necked and, you know, don't want to listen and talk bad about you, give them a chance. It's like, you know, like Christ. So even you can see this, the characteristics of Moses was exactly like Christ did, you know, and that's the spirit we need to be in. You know what I mean? All of us. So.
Yeah, and we can touch a point on that. Let's get Matthew the 5th chapter. This is what it takes and requires. Moses was the example right here, and Christ was another example. And Christ tells you how to act to inherit the Beatitudes. Yeah, Matthew chapter 5.
Matthew chapter 5, and I'll start from verse 1. And seeing the multitude, he went up into the mountain, and when he was sat, his disciples came unto him, and he opened his mouth and taught them, saying, Blessed are the poor in the spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are they that mourn, for they shall be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth.
Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Not the proudful, not the prideful, not the ones that want attention, and so forth and so forth. The meek will inherit the earth. This was Moses saying, yo, listen, even though he's a man already, he didn't want a nation to be made of him. He was already part of the nation which he cared about. So that's what, yo, listen, nah, no need for that. Listen, let's work with these people. Yeah? Blessed are the meek, for theirs is that they shall inherit the earth.
Just very quickly as well, this is in the Apocalypse of Paul, alright? Verse 48. Because Paul actually saw when he was taken in the spirit or the flesh, the Most High knoweth. He saw Moses in the third heaven, alright? I'm going to pick up at verse 48. Thou not know him? And I said, No, Lord. And he said to me, This is Moses, the lawgiver, unto whom the Most High gave the law. And when he was nigh me, straightway he wept. And after that he greeted me. And I said unto him, Why weepest thou? For I have heard that thou excellest all men in meekness. And he answered, saying, I weep for them whom I planted with much labor, for they have borne no fruit, neither doth any of them do well. And I have seen all the sheep whom I fed, that they are scattered, and become as having no shepherd. And that all labors which I have endured for the children of Israel are come to naught. And however great wonders I did in their midst, they understood not. And I marvel how the strangers and uncircumcised and idolaters are converted and entered into the promises of the Most High. But Israel have not entered in. And now I say unto thee, O brother Paul, that in that hour when the people hanged up Yeshua, whom thou preachest, the Most High, the Father of all, which gave me the law, and Michael, and all the angels and archangels, and Abraham, and Isaac, and Jacob, and all the righteous wept over the Son of the Most High that was hanged on the cross. And in that hour all the saints waited upon me, looking on me and saying, Behold, Moses, what they of thy people have done unto the Son of the Most High. Therefore blessed art thou, O Paul, and blessed is the generation and people that have believed thy word.
Very deep. Very deep. So we can't take Moses lightly. We can't take the instruction that Moses gives and the examples that happened during Moses' time lightly. Can't take it lightly. Yeah? And if you want, you should download the Apocalypse of Paul. It will have you meek in an instant. Yeah? Let's go back to Numbers.
with the book of Numbers, chapter 14, verse 22. Because all those men which have seen my glory and my miracles, which I did in Egypt and in the wilderness, and have tempted me now these 10 times.
Have tempted me now these 10 times. They keep murmuring and murmuring. And another, when you look at the word murmur, it says any low, continuous sound. You understand? So this was a continuation that they kept doing. It weren't just a one-time murmur. These are things that just kept doing, and kept doing. The most I was hearing it, giving them a chance. Hearing it, giving them a chance. Hearing it up to 10 times. Just like, yo, what is wrong with these people? Continuation. Continually doing it. Not learning. Not one time did somebody step up and say, you know what? Maybe we should speak to Moses directly and find out and let him know that our concerns. Well, you have a right to be concerned. It's your life. You understand? But there's ways to go about it. Don't complain. Speak directly. Yeah? Carry on with what I say.
And have not hearkened to my voice. 23. Surely they shall not see the land which I swear unto their fathers, neither shall any of them that provoked me see it. But my servant Caleb, because he and another spirit with him.
It says, but my servant Caleb, because he had another spirit with him. You understand? So that spirit of murmuring wasn't in him. Murmuring is a demonic spirit, which the rest of the congregation had. Moses had another spirit filled with meekness and understanding, wisdom, to know, hold on, the Most High given us this land, what are we afraid of? Has wisdom and understanding to know where he's at. If you got the spirit of murmuring, you will not enter into the kingdom of heaven. Because that's what we just read in Jude, Christ is going to come with vengeance for, to execute judgment on, murmurers and complainers. Demonic spirit. Why? Because nothing will ever get done apart from division, sedition, heresies and so forth. People are complaining, let's look at another option. That's all it will be, just dividing the body of Christ. There's the difference. Because people hear murmuring and they think, that just means talking about somebody or having, you understand? But no, it's a spirit, literally, named after itself. Caleb had another spirit. His spiritual that we're dealing with, tabernacles or is dwelling in booths, is spiritual. It's meant to give us the understanding. It's meant to make us meek like Moses was. Why? Because we're not having the luxury of what we usually have. This is what it's meant to do. It's meant to bring us down, to build us up stronger, so that we can be glad every morning and thankful every morning for what we have. Is everyone following? All right. Yeah. Carry on.
You can't be too proud if you're going to walk in the bush there with a shovel, yeah? I'll bring it down to earth. Snapchat that. But anyway. Verse.
Okay. So who's going to Snapchat that?
That's the point.
That's the point.
Verse 24. And have followed me fully. Him will I bring into the land whereinto he went.
Yeah, and it says, he shall I bring into the land, letting you know that to enter in this land, you need to have a certain type of spirit in you. To enter into the kingdom of heaven, you need to have a certain type of spirit in you. You can't just be any and anybody. There'll be no lawbreakers in our kingdom.
And that brings it to, like, I'm not going to put a Debbie Downer on it, but even for like next year's Tabernacles, Most High spare our lives, if we notice there's an off person in the church, don't invite them. Say, no, you dwell by yourself, lest you bring us all down. You understand? Because it's easy for somebody to murmur something and you just being, I hear that. You see that there? Now that person said, he agrees with me. Even if you didn't mean it like that. Even if you just say, oh yeah, to shut them off. So that person, you need to like, all right, see that, nah, he can't come because, or that he or she can't come. Push them away to one side so the whole church ain't tainted with this spirit. Because these spirits are easy to jump into person at any time.
Yeah, and even on the back of that, we can, as we read through, I can't remember if it's this chapter or chapter 16. I think it's 16, yeah. We'll read, and that's lawful. If you can see people acting off, yo, don't deal with them. Send them away, and you were going to read it in chapter 16. You understand? We'll read it and say, yo, listen, you think, yo, that's harsh. It's not harsh. It's saving your soul and others round about. So you're not tainted with the same, and painted with the same brush. Murmurers, complainers. You understand? Because if someone makes a complaint to you, you're always going to have that complaint in your head, even if you didn't think it was a problem at first. It's crazy. People that are easily offended. Don't want to deal with that. You need to have patience and long suffering. Stop being easily offended. You understand? You can't be offended living in... No, listen, we need to stick together. We have to make this as comfortable as we can, because it's not comfortable. We could be somewhere else with the sun and the sea and a beach. Yeah? We could. But we're here roughing it out next to deers, kangaroos. We don't even know when they're coming. They're here. You understand? You know, waking up, seeing feces on the floor. One morning, you're going to step in it fresh. You understand? This is not comfortable. We have to make it comfortable. Yeah? Yeah, read it. Read it.
Romans chapter 16 and verse 17. Now I beseech you, brethren, mark them which cause divisions and offenses contrary to the doctrine which ye have learned, and avoid them.
And avoid them. Mark them, point them out, let people know who it is, and avoid them. Avoid them like the plague, that sort of phrase. Avoid them, man. Yeah? You're not going to be petting, yo, listen, we don't want none of that. We don't want lawbreakers here. We're trying to keep the law to the best of our ability, because we are going to make it through as a nation. It's not a one-man kingdom. It's a nation kingdom. So I want to see my people there. As much people as we can get. Yeah? Where are we now? In 14 and 24, 25, yeah.
25. Now the Amalekites and the Canaanites dwelt in the valley. Tomorrow turn you, and get you into the wilderness by the way of the Red Sea. And the Lord spake unto Moses and Aaron, saying, How long shall I bear with this evil congregation, which murmur against me? I have heard the murmuring of the children of Israel, which they murmur against me.
Yeah? But we haven't read the children of Israel murmur against the Most High. We've only heard them murmuring against Moses. So letting you know, if you murmur against Moses, who the Most High chose, you murmur against the Most High. You understand? You murmur against any elder, leader, deacon, or whatnot. You're murmuring against the Most High, which we read in Romans. The Most High choosing people to do certain jobs. Do not think the Most High can't make right decisions, because truly He can. Yeah?
Say unto them, As truly as I live, saith the Lord, as ye have spoken in mine ears, so will I do to you. Your carcasses shall fill in this wilderness, and all that went numbered of you, according to your whole number, from 20 years old and upward, which have murmured against me. Doubtless ye shall not come into the land, concerning which I swear to make you dwell therein, save Caleb, the son of Jephunneh, and Joshua, the son of Nun.
Yeah, so because you were talking about not making it into the country, the Most High said, all right then, if that's what you're going to be speaking, then I'm going to make sure that's what happens in it. You spoke what you said into existence yourself. That's what people did. Can't make it into the land. All right, you won't make it into the land then? That was your choice. You could have just carried on with the program, have faith, and get led into the country. Yeah, carry on.
But your little ones which ye should be prey, them will I bring in, and they shall know that the land which ye have despised. But as for you, your carcasses they shall fill in this wilderness. And your children shall wander in the wilderness 40 years, and bear your whoredoms, until your carcasses be wasted in the wilderness. After the number of days in which ye search the land, even 40 days, each day for a year shall be your iniquities, even 40 years, and ye shall know my breach of promise.
Yeah, carry on.
Just want to touch on verse 33 there, and it said, and your children shall wander in the wilderness 40 years. This is letting us know, especially the grown parents and adults in here, that everything that you do does have a knock-on effect to your children. The children had to wander for 40 years, and they did nothing wrong. They didn't murmur. You understand? Even though the Most High said, all right, I'm going to punish them, but not severely. Because wandering for 40 years is still a punishment. But they're going to see the land in the end. So this is a reminder again that what we do as adults has a knock-on effect to the children and the next generation under us. Yeah, I just wanted to point that out.
Yeah, verse 35.
I, the Lord, have said, I will surely do it unto all this evil congregation that are gathered together against me. In the wilderness they shall be consumed, and there they shall die. And the men which Moses sent to search the land, who returned and made all the congregation to murmur against him by bringing up a slander upon the land, even those men that did bring up the evil report upon the land, died by the plague before the Lord.
Yeah, and you get me, the men that started it off, they died because they started off the murmur. They were chosen to do a specific job. You'll search out the land, just give us a report, that's back. He didn't tell you to go murmur and go rail up people to go back into Egypt. That was not the job. That was not the mission. Just do what you're told.
And the Most High say, we see a plague. Now, a plague is not a nice way to die, is it? In fact, that's like a long... The Most High made sure that these men died a painful death, showing you the type of God we worship. He doesn't play around. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah. These people, they suffered. And on the back, what you say? Deuteronomy 28? Yeah.
where's that God is good all the time?
God is love and only love. Understand? Just quickly, I'm just going to quickly get it. Deuteronomy 28 and verse 21. The Lord shall make the pestilence cleave unto thee until he have consumed thee from off the land, whether thou go to possess it. The Lord shall smite thee with consumption, and with a fever, and with inflammation, and with extreme burning, and with the sword, and with blasting, and with mildew, and they shall pursue thee until thou perish. You understand? This is the kind of thing the Most High does to people that break his laws and complain and murmur. Just like these people that started off the murmur, they got that fever, burning, inflammation. You understand? The punishment of sin is pestilence and diseases. This is what the government doesn't tell you. When you're hearing these places are a disease outbreak, because the place is full of sin. That's why. Sickness is sin.
Yeah, sickness is the result of sin. And the Most High saying, yo, listen, he put enough plagues and inflammation. Have you ever seen a cut that gets infected? Has that green pus coming out of it and whatnot? Imagine stuff like that all over your body, and it's just horrible. Nasty. So, yeah. And that's the punishment of those. that spoke evil against Moses and what the Most High was trying to do and help our people. Yeah? All right.
The book of Numbers, chapter 14, verse 38. But Joshua the son of Nun and Caleb the son of Jephunneh, which were of the men that went to search the land, lived still. And Moses told these sayings unto the children of Israel, and the people mourned greatly.
All right, now we can go to chapter 16. And we'll start at verse... We'll start at 16 and we can start... Yeah, I'm trying to rush it up real quick. Yeah, let's just get verse 15. 15 on down. Yeah.
The book of Numbers, chapter 16, verse 1. I'll read I think it's Korah, Danath, and Abraham's rebellion. Now Korah, the son of Izhar, the son of Kohath, the son of Levi, and Dathan, and Ibram, the son of Eliab, and On, the son of Peleth, sons of Reuben, took men. And they rose up before Moses with certain of the children of Israel, 250 princes of the assembly, famous in the congregation, men of renown. And they gathered themselves together against Moses and against Aaron, and said unto them, Ye take too much upon you, seeing all the congregation are holy, every one of them, and the Lord is among them. Wherefore then, lift up ye yourselves above the congregation of the Lord. And when Moses heard it, he fell upon his face.
Yeah, and as you can see, these people now want to be leaders amongst the flock of Israel. So they're trying to speak bad against Moses, making it seem like he wanted to be the leader of the nation and so forth and so forth. Yeah, and this is what we do see a lot of this happen in instances in the church where people start knowing a few precepts and they decide they can do a better job than the leaders that were there and gave the foundation of the church. You understand? We see all too often know a few precepts and start thinking that they know how to lead the church. The church is more than just teaching. It comes with a lot of responsibility, a lot of headache and stress. You understand? Because doubtless to say, who wanted to be a teacher and a leader in the church right now? Did you want to be?
Oh, no.
I definitely didn't want it.
Moses didn't want it. Moses didn't want it. In fact, he kept telling the Most High, no, I can't. He made excuses. I can't speak well. I can't do this. Yeah?
Jonah never wanted it either.
Yeah.
Jonah never wanted it. And where did he end up? In a fish belly, spat back out and had to go and do the mission anyway. Yo, it's not of man's choosing. If men want it and want it too much, then that's an off spirit. The Most High not looking for that. He's choosing the meek and saying, yo, listen, all right. He don't want it, but he's going to have it anyway. You understand?
I'm pretty sure nobody here likes getting phone calls 3 in the morning. Like, it's not saying that, of course, we got to deal with stuff. But who here likes to get phone calls at that time of the night, hearing people's problems, yeah? Is that something that people, yeah, that sounds good to me. Yeah? No. You look at the phone, it's like, the flesh is like, oh, no. But the spirit, you got to...
You understand? And Jerome can bear witness. We'll be sleeping. Well, I snore. You understand? I'm a heavy sleeper. And the phone be just belling off, talking foolishness. No, I don't want that. I was enjoying my sleep. I was playing for football for Manchester United. That was a positive dream right there. You understand? You understand? I'm a Manchester United fan. Yeah, soccer. Yeah, so yeah, but you don't want none of that. It comes with a lot of headache and stress. Trying to age me before my time. Yeah, but yeah, carry on with that. You know what? It's all good, you know. So if you don't mind,
Keep going.
So, yeah, man.
And he spake unto Korah and unto the company, saying, Even tomorrow the Lord will show who are his, and who is holy, and I will cause him to come near unto him. Even him he have chosen will he cause to come near unto him. This do, take your censers, Korah, and all his company, and put fire therein, and put incense in them before the Lord tomorrow. And it shall be that the man whom the Lord doeth choose, he shall be holy. Ye take too much upon you, ye sons of Levi. And Moses said unto Korah, Hear, I pray ye, sons of Levi. Seemeth it but a small thing unto you, that God, the God of Israel, hath separated you from the congregation of Israel, to bring you near to himself, to do the service of the tabernacle of the Lord, and to stand before the congregation to minister unto them, and he hath brought thee near to him, and all the brethren, the sons of Levi, with thee. And seek ye the priesthood also?
So what he said is they already had a role of responsibility over this people. What more do you actually want? What more do they want? They already had the famous people, the men of renown, the people that people looked up to. You've already those guys. What more do you want? What more would after? I don't understand it, madam, so to be honest. Because the legacy they left behind, we're reading it now, isn't good. You understand? You was good where you was. You didn't need nothing more. Well, that's where the spirit of what? Wantonness. Oh. Yeah, covetous. You're being coveting. Wanted Moses' position a bit too much. And we're going to read the end result of their murmurings and their covetousness and whatnot. We're going to read the end result in this chapter. Yeah?
For which cause, verse 11, for which cause both thou, all thy company, are gathered together against the Lord.
You gathered against the Lord. Why? Because the Lord chose Moses. So you're not going against Moses. You're going about the person who chose Moses to stand there. You understand? This is what was happening in the wilderness. This is what was happening. So we're here at Tabernacles and we're having a good time, but we have to remember the history of what was going on. It was craziness. It was stupid. Yeah? Let's get to verse 15.
Verse 15. And Moses was very wroth, and said unto the Lord, Respect not thou their offering. I have not taken one ass from them, neither have I hurt one of them.
So Moses said, yo, listen, I haven't done nothing to nobody. Why are they coming against me? Yeah?
And Moses said unto Korah, Be thou and all thy company before the Lord, thou and they, and Aaron tomorrow, and take every man his censer, and put incense in them, and bring ye before the Lord, every man his censer, 250 censers, thou also, and Aaron, each of you his censer. And they took every man his censer, and put fire in them, and laid the incense thereon, and stood in the door of the tabernacle of the congregation with Moses and Aaron.
Yeah. Skip to verse 20 for me.
And the Lord spake unto Moses and Aaron, saying, Separate yourselves from among the congregation, that I may consume them in a moment.
That I may consume them in a moment. So we read when Moses said to Moses, going in a bit more detail about what actually happened. Saying, yo, separate yourself. So we're showing you, we can't be around people who complain and people who are covetous. We can't be around these people. We have to be separate, to be holy. That is the message that we need to bring. Being in the wilderness, well, being here right now, we're separated from mainstream society to an extent. And that's how we're trying to be. We're trying to, let's know one another, let's trust. You understand? Let's cook clean with each other. Let's grow as a nation. Yeah? Carry on.
Verse 22. And they fell upon their faces and said, O God, the God of the spirits of all flesh, shall one man sin, and wilt thou be wroth with all the congregation? And the Most High spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the congregation, saying, Get you up from about the tabernacle of Korah, Dathan, and Abiram. And Moses rose up and went unto Dathan and Abiram, and the elders of Israel followed him.
Yes, and now he's saying, yo, listen, you need to tell them to stay away from these people. Why? Because the Most High is now going to execute judgment on them. So when people are going around murmuring and so forth, we have to mark them, point them out, and separate them for our own benefit. Yeah? Read.
Speak unto the congregations, verse 26. And he spake unto the congregation, saying, Depart, I pray you, from the tents of these wicked men, and touch nothing of theirs, lest ye be consumed in all their sins.
In their sins. Saying, don't touch nothing of theirs. Get out from their tents and don't touch nothing on your way out, unless you're going to be consumed in their sins. Not your own, theirs. Their memory is going to have an effect if you touch anything as you're leaving. So this is what we need to do. If we're in somebody's house and they're murmuring, complaining about the church, excuse me, remember this precept. Get up, put your coat on, shoes on, walk out the door, and dust your feet. Don't even let the dust follow you out there. You understand? I have nothing to do with them. Or you're going to reap the same fate. Why? Because they can always say, well, me and such were sitting in my yard that night, my house that night, having some wine, discussing this, even though you were just the ears. You're gonna it now turns into a discussion. You're a partaker of this person's sin. This is why they've been warned, yo, listen, just leave. Do not touch nothing. Walk on out. Read.
So they get from the tabernacle of Korah, Dathan, and Abiram on every side. And Dathan and Abiram came out and stood in the door of their tents, and their wives, and their sons, and their little children.
Understand that these people had families. So even though it's only making mention of Dathan, Abiram, and Korah, so they had families. And the Most High is going to punish them and their families. Why? Because they must have been hearing everything that the man was saying. Whether they were lying down having pillow talk around breakfast. These were now tainted people. So they're partaker of the sin of Abraham and whatnot. You can't have nothing to do with it. Read.
Verse 28. And Moses said, Hereby ye shall know that the Lord have sent me to do all these works, for I have not done them of my own mind.
Moses didn't choose himself. The Most High chose Moses. The Most High chooses the leaders. If the Most High will. So who are we to second guess the Most High? And these people not just were second guessing it, they were spreading it. They were spreading their foolishness. Not looking at the end result like, listen, Moses is only trying to give us the promises, the promised land. Was that such a bad thing? Or they were covetous, they wanted Moses' position. They wanted to be the one to lead us. And they were actually part of the leadership. They were already known within Israel. Wanted too much. Be sufficient with what you have. Appreciate what you have already. What you have, you're lucky you're an Israelite. They should have been happy with that. So they could have either been an Egyptian and died. People are ungrateful. Read.
If these men die the common death of all men, or if they be visited after the visitation of all men, then the Lord have not sent me. Verse 30. But if the Lord make a new thing, and the earth open up her mouth, and swallow them up with all that appertain unto them, and they go down quick into the pit, then ye shall understand that these men have provoked the Most High. And it came to pass, as he had made an end of these speaking, all these words, that the ground clave asunder that was under them. And the earth opened up her mouth, and swallowed them up, and their houses, and all the men that appertained to Korah. and all their goods.
Everything swallowed up. Read.
And they and all that appertained to them went down alive into the pit, and the earth closed upon them, and they perished from among the congregation.
And they perished. So they got buried alive. They suffocated to death. That must have been horrible. They suffocated in earth. They didn't drown in the sea. The earth opened up. They fell down and closed back. This is what we need to remember. The punishment of the Most High is actually severe if we don't keep His commandments and if we're not grateful for what He's given us. Yeah? Let's skip to verse 40. No, 1 sec. Yeah, let's get verse 40.
There's the book of Numbers, chapter 16, verse 40. To be a memorial unto the children of Israel, that no stranger which is not of the seed of Aaron.
Oh, yeah, no. Yeah. Go back to where it was and read on down so they get understanding of what it says. Yeah.
Verse 34. And all Israel that were round about them fled and cried of them, for they said, lest the earth swallow us up also.
Because they knew what they did. So they were like, yo, hold on. The Most High dealing with us. And they're running. Read.
And there came out a fire from the Lord that consumed 250 men that offered incense.
They got burnt with fire. So they didn't escape the punishment. But He made a severe one as an example because they were the one that instigated it. And the stupid people that followed got burnt with fire. So this is what we need to be mindful of. Let's not entertain foolishness. Let's not entertain complainers and murmurers and covetousness. Let's not deal with people that are just openly just breaking the law without regard. Those that are repentful, we can deal with. But those people that are going to be puffed up and think that what they're doing is right and that they know it all, we're going to have nothing to do with, lest we fall into the same fate. This is why, the blind leaders of the blind both shall fall into the ditch. And this is real. This was a real life scenario that happened. And we know it's real because we wouldn't be here otherwise. This is what tabernacle is a reminder for. We're meant to be going through the law and rereading. All right, tabernacles, we got free from Egypt, went into the wilderness. What happened in the wilderness? How do we get out of the wilderness? These are what we need to be mindful of. And let's not fall into the same fate as these men did. Yeah? And unless anyone else got anything to add, I've kind of done right here. Yeah?
It's funny because we see, if I could, you go. I was saying, you see that, it took extreme, terrible death. Then the children of Israel got scared. And you would think, oh yeah, they learned a lesson. Now later on down the track, they started blaming Moses again. Yeah, it was Moses that killed Korah in there. So when the elders brought out before, remember the days of old. When we read these stories, why are we reading them for? To avoid what they did.
On the back of that, finish up skip to verse 40 and go down to verse 42 or something, yeah? Verse 40. Yeah, start from verse 40, yeah.
To be a memorial of Psalm 39? No. To be a memorial unto the children of Israel, that no stranger which is not of the seed of Aaron come near to offer incense before the Lord. But be not as Korah and his company, as the Lord said unto him by the hand of Moses. But on the morrow all the congregation of the children of Israel murmured against Moses and against Aaron, saying, Ye have killed the people of the Lord.
So they did it again. They didn't learn. Now they started to say, yo, you that killed the great men of renown for us. These were the people of God you that killed. Well, if it was acting right, they wouldn't have died. You understand? They still didn't learn their lesson. That's just another example. each time we actually go off and we went into slavery, it's through the same thing. We're not listening. Think we know better. Murmur, slavery. Come back out. Oh, pray to Most High, freed us. We do it again. It's a vicious cycle. We'll pray to Most High. This is the last one. Because the next time our deliverance is Christ coming. Yeah? With power and with the sound of the trumpet. Yeah?
Now, let's keep in mind the commandments and let's try and live righteously as a community. Anybody got anything else to wrap up? Yeah. Right now, we've got communion.